Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another First Impressions video. In today's First Impressions video, we are taking a look at the Midwest Industries Alpha side folding stock. And before we get this video started, I wanted to give a quick shout out to this video's sponsor, which is Seal One. Seal One makes a wide variety of firearms maintenance supplies, and this is a partnership that I am very much excited about because I have been using Seal One products now for years. They make everything from non-toxic and bio-based CLP paste and liquid, and then they also make bow care products, they make cleaning patches, and they make pretty much everything in between. It's a great company. I seriously appreciate their support on the channel, and they even offer now a discount code for you guys watching this video. So if you go to Seal One's website at checkout in the discount code section, just type in FF-25, that's FF-25, and that will get you 25% off. They're already pretty reasonable prices. I seriously appreciate their support here on the channel. I believe, not 100%, but I believe this is the first video out there on the internet of this stock actually in use that is not a video just direct from Midwest Industries or something like that. If you guys are watching this, it is probably a few days after this stock and the other Alpha Series products by Midwest Industries just launched at SHOT Show. This came with a wide variety of other AK handguard and rail dust cover upgrades that Midwest is going to be coming out with. Now, I'm kind of calling this the Alpha AK stock from Midwest Industries. However, it is just simply a pick rail on the attachment point. So really, it's not just an AK stock. It could be ran on anything that has a Picatinny attachment point on the rear of the firearm. So it is an Alpha AK stock to me, but you could run it on anything that has that pick rail, and it does have quite the vibe on whatever you put it on. I am super thankful that Midwest Industries sent this to me ahead of time, pre-launch, to check out, do some testing with, and just see how I was digging the product. Now, full disclosure, Midwest did not give me any money for a positive review or anything like that. Those folks over at Midwest are the coolest people I've ever worked with in the industry. They're truly awesome, and they didn't even ask me to do a review on this stock. I said, hey, I'm going to do some upgrades to my M92 PAP here, and I think that stock would be sweet on this gun. Could you add it in, and we'll do kind of a whole video on the upgrades of the M92. But after running the stock, I just had to do a video on just the stock itself because it is awesome. I very much like it, and we're going to talk about why. If you are familiar with AK products, you will know that this looks very similar to a Zenitco PT1 stock. And the reason for that is because it is a very close representation of, in my opinion, don't read too hard in the comment section, a better version of the PT1 stock. And essentially what Midwest did is they saw the popularity that the Zenitco products had on the US market, and they also saw, and this is not what I heard from them, this is just what my assumption is, they also saw how hard it was to get these products here in the United States. So they wanted to kind of alleviate that problem by offering US-made products and making them even better, and I think that's exactly what they did here. So what is going on with the Alpha Series stock here? You have an improved recoil pad in the back. This is going to be a rubber recoil pad, and you will notice all types of adjustment. Now, on the Zenitco stocks, you're working with a bunch of funky, weird metric screws everywhere that don't really line up with all the stuff that we have here in the US. So as far as adjusting it, that can be a little strange at first. We have standard screws here that are very easy to get to with any standard Allen wrench, and also Midwest throws in any of the wrenches necessary for these screws in the packaging itself. So it's awesome. They always do that with all the rails, and I really do appreciate that. They also do it with the stocks. You'll notice the butt pad itself is adjustable for elevation, so you can go up or down on the butt pad depending on the plate carrier you're running or whatever else, if you have a preference to have the butt pad higher than the actual stock itself, you can do that no problem here. I left it in the lowest setting, and that's how it was out of box. And I had absolutely no issues with that for my comfort level. You also have an adjustable cheek piece. Now, I did drop a little bit of a teaser photo here on Reddit, and a lot of folks were asking, hey, is that all polymer? I don't know why, but everyone out there was kind of throwing out information that this was a polymer stock. It is not a polymer stock at all. Most of this stock is aluminum, and then the actual adapter that goes onto the Picatinny section of the firearm is steel. So you have aluminum, but they did not keep aluminum for the cheek riser here, and I think that was genius. There are aluminum versions of this out there, and I believe the Zenitco PT1 has an aluminum piece here, and that is not the most comfortable on your cheek. So going with a polymer cheek riser here is a phenomenal choice, and it was incredibly comfortable at the range. With this, you have 4 adjustment levels. So whatever optic height you are running on your AK or any other firearm, you're going to have the ability to raise this up pretty high and then also decrease it down so that it's essentially touching the stock itself. Now, the adjustment screws are pretty crafty as well because you need to take them all the way out in order to adjust this up or down. And I think that is a very smart move because a lot of the time on cheek risers, what I've seen is you can just loosen them a little bit and that's going to raise it up or down. That seems really nice because you don't have to take something all the way out and risk losing a screw. But what I have seen happen is those loosen and that just kind of popping up or down when you don't want it to. So the ability to take these all the way out and then firmly secure them in so that it's not going anywhere, again, I think was a well thought out choice. Now, you do have quick detach sling points all over this stock. So you have one here in the rear, you have one in the front, and then on the opposite side, you have one on the left portion here. Now, I will say when you put a sling, a QD attachment point system on that left portion of the stock itself, I don't know that that option works all that well because it prevents you from actually folding the stock itself. So if you're not planning on folding it that often, then just keeping the sling swivel spot there may work for you, maybe a little bit more comfortable depending on the sling that you have. But I really like the ability to fold this and put it in a tennis bag or whatever else you're rocking it in. Typically, how I am running my sling on the Alpha stock is in this QD section here. Normally, I would like to run my sling in the rear portion, and I think with any like Blue Force gear sling or anything like that, it'd be very easy to do, but in this case, I'm running a Bulgarian surplus AK sling, and you only have so much room on here, and on the M92, it's going to stick up pretty far up there in the front, and when I go back here to this QD section, it just gets very, very, very difficult to stretch that sling and have it not be in the way. So I'm going to play around with it. If I really stretch out the adjustment more than I would like, then it may fit, and it may not. We'll see how it goes from there, and maybe I just get another sling entirely. You'll also notice a button here, so not only do you have the adjustments on the stock for the cheek riser and also the butt pad itself, you also have a 6-position adjustable length of pole, which is pretty awesome. Now, a lot of folks, I posted this on Reddit, everyone's like, oh my god, it looks so rough in there. What a Zenitco stock. Why would anybody buy that? It's really awesome that the very intelligent people commenting that on Reddit don't know what grease looks like. So that would be grease on the inside of the stock and not rough machining. In fact, the machining on the stock itself is phenomenal. I don't see a single burr or ding or scrape or anything anywhere on the stock, and it just looks pretty freaking good. I will say the adjustment itself is rather tight, especially when it first comes out of the box, so I would imagine that is why they have the grease here. As I've been using it, it's getting a little bit better, but you can see you really got to kind of like push it home in order to get that to work. But you know what? It stays very, very rigid on the gun itself, so I don't know that that matters to me at all. I'd much rather it be a little tighter to move back and forth, but rigid when I put it into my shoulder. So I am just fine with that. They did have a variety of tail hook adapters and other things for the rear portion of this stock for whatever it is that you are throwing this stock on, and unfortunately in recent events with the ATF, that is kind of null and void now. For most folks, it would just be far more practical to just get a usable stock rather than a tail hook or whatever else on the back. So in this case, I am, of course, just running a buttstock on the M92 here, and that is very, very functional, great overall. Now, for length of pull, I believe I had it at about 1 position out, and that was perfect for me. I felt like that was great for length of pull. How was the comfort in actually shooting on this short M92 here at the range? Guys, it was awesome. I recently, semi-recently, had an injury to the right side of my chest that is just kind of one of those things that's always going to bug you. It was a gym-related injury with my pec. So unfortunately, when I'm shooting anything with recoil above 5.56, it's one of those things where I really kind of feel it the following day. And I stopped shooting a lot of my AKs, one, because ammunition availability kind of sucked, and two, just because, again, the short length of pull was just really beating the living crap out of me. This stock was phenomenal as far as managing recoil because of the added length of pull and the rubber butt pad in the back. I could shoot this thing all day long again, and that is such a good feeling. I miss shooting my AKs, and I hated the fact that anytime I wanted to just run with one at the range, I was experiencing a ton of pain. With this, it alleviated almost all of that. I didn't have the short length of pull. I didn't have the super tiny, small metal butt pad in the back that's just nailing you a little bit. So this is an incredibly comfortable stock, and I would imagine on a 5.56, like a BRN or something like that, this would be phenomenal. As you guys saw there, the stock is side folding. The side folding mechanism is one of those where you grab and pull up from the bottom, and I put my thumb on the pick rail piece there, and that is relatively easy to pull over, and it's going to fold shut. Now, it does have a little tiny bit of spring tension there, so it's going to stay shut without issue. Now, a lot of folks were asking, hey, if you have a side mount on your AK, is that going to close fully with having an optic? And unfortunately, it will not. It's going to run into that rail. Not a huge deal for me because the Ultimac is typically life on most of my AKs. Now, I'm going to be doing a full review on the further upgrades on the M92 shortly. I just wanted to showcase the stock itself. I think overall, for a price point of about $284 MSRP, it is a very reasonable price for the stock. You got to look at the machining that's going on here. You do have aluminum components everywhere, and there's a lot of adjustments, a lot of small nooks and crannies, a lot of pieces to the stock, and you're also getting the steel adapter as well. So $284, you know, is it a little bit steep? Maybe, but at the end of the day, they have brought this idea to the United States market and allowed you something that is going to get you close, if not better, than a Zenitco PT1. It's going to give you the same awesome vibes and look to it, and also way more practical abilities with the stock. And for that, I think 284 is really not bad. On top of that, I know a lot of folks were super salty that they did not come out with a 4.5 or a 5.5 millimeter pin folding section here for the back of the stock as an option for any of the Bulgarian or Russian trunnions out there. Look, I get it. I understand. I asked myself, I'm like, oh man, are you guys going to come out with a 4.5 mil option? And right now, that's just not really on the table. But you never know. With the popularity, I am going to be looking at the handguard set in the future as well, so stay tuned for that. That is going to wrap up this first impressions video on the Midwest Industries Alpha stock. If you guys have any other questions about this stock or anything else on the channel, please throw them down below in the comment section, and you guys know I absolutely will get back to you. While you're down there, check out that description for the links to support the channel, and as always, stay tuned for more great videos coming soon.